Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the most famous person I barely met, the podcast that is now interplanetary because I've gotten signals from other universes. I'm not going to say how or where, but they're watching, they're listening, and we thank them. For tonight's episode, I'm very excited to have my frequent co host, the from parts unknown or from Connecticut, beaming in, Robert Bobby Schaub, who goes by the name Robert Bobby Schaub. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Thanks for having me, John.
You're very welcome, Robert. And we're even more excited to have a fellow Villanova graduate, class of 87, which I think Pope Leo has said that's his favorite class. Rob, did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yes, I think he's 1887, but we're going to count it for us. Okay. Sean Grady, a really great guy, uh, Long Island native, Sean Grady, a Wall Street wizard, a man of many talents, a great baseball player, played for Villanova University, a pitcher. We have a familial connection. He went to high school. My uncle was his guidance counselor. He played against my cousin Jeff growing up. I don't know if he struck Jeff out, but he was good. Sean is now down south, but his heart, I believe, is up here in the East Coast. And I will say hello, Sean.
John, great to be on, and very excited to talk to you and Rob tonight.
Well, we all day I've been thinking about this. Sean and I, we were sort of reminiscing. We studied hard and we had to relax every now and then. Okay, we were both very um, conscientious students, and every now and then Sean would say, "Hey, would you like to go out and maybe have a beverage?" And I would be, "I don't know, Sean, maybe I don't know." And then we hit on this one place, Mallory's, right? Right, Sean?
Yes,
And
John.
it was on the main line near Villanova. And on Tuesday nights they had a special. I believe they had a special. And Sean would often say, "Let's go to Mallory's and enjoy the special." And we would go and we would sit down, and Sean would say something like, "I have a test tomorrow." Or, "John, if you're going to get that 4.0, we got to get home early." And we'd say something like, "Well, it's either going to be a hard Tuesday or a soft Tuesday." And the joke is that we never missed a Mallory's that whole year, and they were all hard. And they were all hard. Sean, I thank you for that. You were a good companion. Did I get that story right?
Yeah, I think we did go out every single Tuesday senior year, John, and we did go to Mallory's, and I don't think any of them were easy, John.
No, no, no. Listen, there's a lot of dedication to having a balanced social life. Robert, I don't think you ever came with us to those places.
Mallory's. I'm drawing a blank. I know I've heard of it. And I know I've been there. It's not ringing a bell right now.
All
I
right.
think
So,
I think Rob on Tuesdays was more interested in Mug Night down at Friendly's, where I believe it was $6 for all
Wasn't
you
Mug
could
Night
drink,
every
and you got a
Tuesday
mug,
and Thursday, right?
and you get a Tuesday and Thursday. That's
yeah,
right. I might have been
Bobby,
there on a few Thursdays.
Bobby's an accountant and he always understood ratios.
I
You know what I
always
mean?
like to know what my ceiling was. Like I'm not going to pay more than this.
I think Sean and I might have been a little more cultured than you, Robert,
Okay.
at that time. We were, Sean, I'm going to say that there wasn't anyone else there except us, right? I mean, there was no Nova guys. It was just you and I.
I think there were other people there, John, but I don't think they were in our
Not
inner
to me.
circle.
You were the only one,
Yeah,
Sean. You were the,
yeah.
what the hell did we talk about every Tuesday? We did something.
I don't know, John. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, John, but so I used to, when we were home on the weekends in conference, I used to pitch on Saturdays. So Friday night, I wouldn't go out, or I'd go out and I'd really behave myself. They were soft Fridays. So I was always looking to get going fairly early on Saturdays. And I think you and I ended up in the Aaron pub by ourselves many Saturday afternoons as well. You were nice enough to
Yeah,
join me.
I was very generous with my time for a lot. Aaron Pub is a bad, they threw me out a few times. We talked about it in one of the earlier episodes. Bobby was a big favorite of the Aaron Pub.
It came up in the Wolfie episode because
Yeah.
when we beat North Carolina in the final 8, me, Steve, Wolfie, and John Duffy went to their pub, and Mike the bouncer was there, and he's like, "There's no more beer." This was like 11 at night, and then he saw Panone, and he let us in, and we stayed till about 6 in the morning.
And
Yeah,
I think
if I remember
Mike the
correctly,
bouncer, the other bouncer, and the 4 of us. It was wacky.
if I remember, because we spent a lot of time that year together as well, Rob. And
Yeah,
if I remember,
and
he
here,
he won a lot of money on Villanova that game.
probably happy.
but
And
he did not
I
like
think,
he did
did
not
he give
like
you the keys and tell you to lock up?
No, he left with us. We didn't leave till about 6 in the morning.
he
Oh,
threw
great.
me out. He threw me
He
out.
did not like you.
No, he didn't like me. He didn't like me. I didn't like him. You know what I mean? So let's be
He
honest.
wasn't
I hope
really a
he's
friendly guy.
if he's watching, Mike, we'll have you on. It's time to heal. It's time to heal. Um, but Sean, and then after we graduated, I'm going to ask Sean to tell a little bit about his life. But I always thought it was very cool that Sean's family, and correct me if wrong, you had a seat on the exchange. Wasn't that true? Your
My
dad?
grandfather did. My grandfather had a seat on the New York Stock
And I'm
Exchange.
going to ask you about that because it was a big deal on that. And Sean worked on Wall Street and and he had this cool apartment downtown and we didn't have anything. We'd go out in the city and we'd all crash at Sean's. It was just like the place to be and it was really fun. And then Sean and I spent a lot of time driving down to Jersey Shore back and forth. I'd like to think a couple weekends with me propelled you to get married, to get away from that world, but we won't say anything like that. So a long history with both these gentlemen, but it's really nice that in this series we're doing a lot of Nova guys. So Shawnee, tell me a little about your about working on Wall Street in the when you did it. It was like you started right to 88, 89 or when?
Yeah, I started '87. Right after the summer. I played a little baseball in the summer, and then I started in '87. And about a month later, John, the market crashed.
Okay.
So I started, on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Funny, the one of the gentlemen that owned my firm had grown up with my dad, and actually my grandfather had given him his first job on Wall Street. So he took a shot on me when I got out of college.
Uh-huh.
And my idea was not to work on the floor my entire life, but the crash kind of prolonged that, and then I ended up going up to a trading desk at First Boston at the time, and spent probably I think 18, 20 years there. So I was very fortunate to find a firm and a group of people that I was able to work with for a long time.
Is there still a thing like the seat on the exchange? Is that still a thing?
It's a public, was absorbed into a publicly traded company, so the seats were valued and turned into stock at one point.
And they were like inherited, right? Like they were passed on.
Well, you
Like,
could pass them on or you could sell them. There was a price and they traded. My grandfather actually sold his seat, probably in the mid 70s.
okay. And where was that apartment? It was so cool. Where was that apartment
It
downtown?
was 3 Hanover Square. It
Three
was right
Hanover Square.
across from Harry's of Hanover and the famous restaurant Delmonico's
That
in
was
the city.
such a great.
Monotonous, great
And
steaks.
does your family still have that?
No, my mom and dad sold that apartment.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember, but Kevin McNamara lived with me in that apartment.
I do remember. I
Yeah.
put a couple bids on it, but no one took my offer on that one.
I'm surprised, John.
Shawnee, and you were a great baseball player. Tell me a little bit about Sean Grady, the baseball player, the
I don't know
pitcher.
about great, but I
You
was a
were great.
baseball
No,
player.
you were very good. Great pitcher.
I had a decent career. You know, Interesting fact, I came in with 10 gentlemen in my class, and I was the only one to graduate and play all 4 years at Villanova. I mean, you guys
Are we
don't know
sure that
Mike Morales.
Mike Morales, but Mike Morales went on to become a doctor, I believe, a medical doctor, right? No.
No.
Doctor of Love, Robert. Okay.
Actually, I played with Sean Curtin, who was one of those freshmen. He is a doctor right now.
Okay.
So one of us made it to be a doctor.
Were you guys good?
We were mediocre my freshman and sophomore year, and we were good my junior year, and senior year we were very good.
Okay.
Senior year, very good. And then the year after I graduated, because I was the only senior, they had basically the whole team back. They had a great recruiting class, and the team lost to Miami 1-0 to actually go to the College World Series the year after I
Oh,
graduated.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And as a pitcher, what's your fastest pitch? Did you crack 100?
No, no. I actually threw harder in high school. I threw 93 in high school. That was the hardest. And then in
Huh,
college, probably around 90, 91.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what was your fastball, your out pitch, or what was your expertise? Your control, or what was
I had no control, John.
it? We're not talking about Mallory's
Yeah.
now. We're talking about the guy.
I had a good overhand curve. And those two pitches, I realized when I got to college were not going to be sufficient. So there were a couple of my freshman year, I went down to the University of South Florida and threw a game there. And I believe there were still dents in the wall from that game. But I was fortunate in that one of the local pitchers and actually their coach, the St. Joe's coach, came over my sophomore year.
Uh-huh.
So there was Jamie Moyer, who pitched in the major leagues till he was 50, and
Sure.
he couldn't throw over 85 miles an hour. Taught me his changeup, and that kind of saved my bacon in college. So having the changeup really helped my career in college.
And I know you took that into all levels of life because you would drink beer, sometimes fast, but every now and then you would go slow. It would kind of like, you were kind of like mixing up your ways. It was very, very intriguing, very intriguing.
Yeah, you have to keep people off balance, John.
Let me ask you, so what's the key attribute to be a good trader? What
Consistent.
made you good? Because you were good at it. What made you good at it?
I just think it's consistency.
Yeah, what does that mean?
That just means you have to be as good as at 8:30 in the morning as Monday and 4:30 in the afternoon on Friday. Being consistent, being honest, playing the long game.
Uh-huh.
You're dealing with customers. Some of the client. I was very fortunate. Some of my clients I covered for 20 years, and I owed a lot to my clients. And you just take care of clients; they'll take care of you. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I learned was, there's the right price for me, there's the right price for you, and then there's the right price for everybody.
Mm.
So if you try to do the right thing for everybody, that's when you can have a successful long career.
Right.
There were certainly people who were, better traders than me, took more risk, but
Mm-hmm.
those types of people kind of flash out.
Yeah.
They just want to be consistent and build good relationships.
From what I know, you and others and all that, they say there's nothing like it, the adrenaline. But
It
it
was
can
fun. It
be,
was fun. It was
but it
fun.
can it can be draining though too, right?
It's draining, but it was a fun career. It was continuation of sports. The fact that you know I tell people all the time, that our group of friends in particular, you had to be on high alert, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said something wrong or did something wrong, you were going to hear about it, right?
Right.
And that kind of pace, really helped my career on Wall Street.
What about competition? Is that does a good trader need to be competitive?
Yeah, you have to be competitive. I mean, we all cover, you cover the same accounts as the other firms on Wall Street. And I was very friendly with a lot of my competitors. There were a lot of guys from Villanova that I, dealt with on the competitive side who I knew from school. You meet people that know other people, but at the end of the day, you want to beat them and they want to beat you. So
Yeah.
you want to be number one with the client. They want to be number one with the client. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, there's enough business for everybody. And you have to make sure you're doing the right thing for the client.
Yeah, I think that's why I probably wouldn't have been a good trader. I like to get beat. I don't really want to beat anyone. I'm very comfortable. Um, so now what are you doing, Sean? And I didn't even ask, where are you right now?
I'm in the what we call the Frog, which is the finish room above the garage, down below the south of the Mason-Dixie line. I live in Bluffton, South Carolina.
Okay.
My wife and I moved down here about 4 years ago. We started to build a house when my youngest went to college,
Okay.
and pulled the ripcord again 4 years ago, and haven't looked back.
You miss it up here? Miss You miss New York, New Jersey area?
Yeah, I definitely miss my infrastructure up there. I miss seeing you guys as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But this has been good for me. A lot of temptation up north, John. This
Oh,
has
there
been,
is a lot of
yeah,
pollution, a lot of
yeah.
pollution too. How many kids you have?
I have 4 kids, John.
Okay,
4.
all graduate already out of college.
Out of college, my
Okay,
oldest Caitlin lives in New York City. She went to Lehigh University, and she's still up in New York. 2
okay,
of my boys went to Wake, and they stayed in North Carolina, so they both live in
nice,
Charlotte. And my youngest went to Southern Methodist University and
nice.
remains in Dallas right now.
So you got them all down there. You got them all down there. That's
Yeah,
so nice. And I know you're still playing sports. You were saying you play pickleball, you walk. Are you, I know you're a good pickleball player, right? You win things, right?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Do you bring that New York competitive edge to the pickleball court, Sean? Do you?
I think it's more of a friendly game, John. I can't say
Okay.
they don't get competitive.
You're not throwing your racket at people and all that?
No. I will say that in my house, I am the second best pickleball player in my house.
Oh, your wife's good, isn't she?
Yeah, Chris was she was a college tennis player, so
Oh, okay.
she's an excellent pickleball player, John.
Beautiful. Well, sounds like a really nice life down there. And you've
I
been
keep
awful
telling you,
nice.
I keep telling you to come, John. You
I know,
know,
and you say the fishing there is
yeah.
beautiful and all that. I can't have too much good in my life, Sean. It would ruin me. I couldn't do podcasts. I need the energy. I need the energy, Bobby, the bad energy.
We've had a
But
lot of Villanova, alums stop by. I've had McStravick's been here, Callahan, Rat's
oh,
been here a few times. Axe has
Jesus.
come down. We got to have
Oh,
you down here, John. You have an
all
open
right.
invitation. You and Shop.
Thank you
Oh,
for that. Maybe we'll come. Bobby and I used to do a road trip every now and then. Maybe we'll put the Stone Roses on the radio, Robert, and go down. What do you think? Well, Sean, it's really nice to see you, and it brings up a lot of memories. Bobby and I love these Villanova podcasts. This is a good one, um, and I think we have a couple more coming up. We have just a little
oh.
shout out. We got a man named Johnny Martin coming up in January, so be ready. Bobby, anything to ask Sean before we before I choke to death?
No, when Sean was talking about his time at Villanova baseball, I was just amazed at the whole baseball staff of pitchers with Tom Gamali and Scott Brassington and Sean, and these guys that they had a very unique physique for baseball. I think I don't know. We
They
had the
look good
most
in cleats, Robert.
no, we had the most unathletic looking team, but like they were all good pitchers, right? Like
Are you
Yeah,
trying to say I didn't look like an athlete, John? I'm up, Choppy.
I'm just saying, you guys enjoyed going out to bars and restaurants because
they
you
weren't missing the training table,
they
Robert.
were smaller than me, much smaller than me, but still.
No, they were big guys. They were big
Yeah.
guys, big, tall guys, strong guys. Pitching, Sean will say the the power strength comes from the lower body, Robert,
Yep.
not up time. A little bit
I
up
was,
here though, right?
I showed up at Villanova. I was 190, and they asked me to pitch at 205, and I overshot the mark a little bit at times.
Manilo's Mainline Diner was not a
Inline rocket cheeseburger, John. Manila.
Mainline Rocket Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Mainline Rocket. Bobby used to buy me those. Bobby used to buy. I never had any money. Robert used to buy.
Was that the one with the onion rings and the French fries? Because that's the one I ordered.
Oh yeah. Bobby used to get the meat.
Yes.
Robert used to get the meat platter.
A lot of
When we
people
were
used to
dating,
go
yeah.
with the cheese fries too.
Yeah.
John. A lot of people went to cheese fries for the extra buck.
I think it's still there.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Certainly is.
I wonder if they still offer the meat platter.
I
Well,
don't know.
John,
I'll tell you what.
the only
Yeah.
thing that's bringing up memories of going to at the end of the campus, wasn't there that like a Howard Johnson's there?
Yeah.
And we were on a trend of dining and leaving, dine and dash.
Yeah, don't do that, kids.
No, don't do it, because it's very embarrassing, because on the fourth or fifth time they surrounded our table and asked us for money. We didn't have
Can't
a
do it
dollar.
now. I can't dine and dash with a cane anymore or a walker.
I think they turned that into a Bob's Big Boy at one point.
One
Oh, wow.
day,
They
one
did.
day, not on this podcast, another one. I'll tell the story of a dine and dash experience down in Fort Lauderdale, which which didn't turn out well. Didn't turn out well.
Okay.
Shawnee. So the
Yeah.
people have come. This is fun for us, but audience who might not know Villanova lore, they come for other reasons. They come for other reasons. They come to know what a man like you, a Wall Street legend, a man about town, a pitcher, a bon mot, a friendly guy. He's met a lot of people. But in your travels, who might be the most famous person you barely met, or people if you want to share more than one? But I will give you the floor, Sean, and I will say, Robert, as I say to so many people, let's hear it.
Well, I was fortunate, in the industry I was in, there were a lot of ex-athletes that were in my industry. So, I did meet a lot of guys that you've heard of and I worked with them. My favorite and probably the most famous was Bobby McClanhan. I don't know if remember Bobby. Bobby was on the Miracle team.
Yep.
Oh,
And the Rangers.
Yeah, he was on the Rangers. He was on the Miracle team. Became a very good friend of mine. Not a big guy. And he played for Herb Brooks at the University of Minnesota.
okay.
And a funny story about Robbie, when they did the movie Miracle, it just happenstance, it was directed by a gentleman named Gavin O'Connor, who I went to high school with.
Oh,
He went to Half Hollow Hills West on Long Island. And I called Robbie and I said, I asked him how true the movie was. And he, I don't know if you remember the scene where they were skating after playing Sweden. That was true. He said most of it was true. And then I asked him about his fight with O'Callahan. And he said, Sean, you know me. Do you think I would have fought a guy like that and dropped my stick? Right? But yeah, so I did work with a lot of guys like that, and just being out and about, in the city, just ran into a few people, and they didn't appreciate meeting some of me and some of my friends. I ran into, I don't know if you remember, John Ritter.
oh yeah, I love
John
John
Ritter from
Three's
Three's
Company.
Company. Ran into John Ritter at a place called Del Fresco's, big steakhouse
Okay.
in New York City. I said, John, hey, listen, I'm a big fan, and it's so nice to meet you, and he was kind of probing me, what show did what do you know me
Well, I
from?
don't know, but I know I like
Yeah,
you.
I'm like, I really, I really respect what you've done, because he was the voice of Clifford the Big Red Dog,
That's right.
Oh,
and he did
that.
not appreciate that.
I'm going to interject. I am friends with the son of the man who made Clifford the Big Red Dog, Norman Bidwell, his son Tim. Tim. So I know Clifford the Big Red Dog. I didn't know Ritter was the voice of the Big Red Dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the voice. And
And
it was right in that sweet spot where my kids had Clifford the Big Red Dog on pretty
I love
daily
it.
in my house.
One of my favorite characters ever from Three's Company is Mr. Furley, Donnie Knotts with John Ritter.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I'll tell you, I've two favorite stories,
Okay.
right? So, and they're both athletes. So the first one, and Rob, you'll appreciate this because I think he was probably one of your heroes too. Very into high school football in New Jersey, and our team used to play Friday nights, and every once in a while they'd play Saturday. So we'd go, my buddies and I, to go to some other Friday night game. So our big rival was a high school called Ramapo High School. My kids went to Northern Highlands. So we go to the Ramapo game, and we get there fairly early, and we're sitting in the stands, and we look up in the top, a little above us to the right, and sitting there is Phil Simms,
Oh,
because he had one son that had gone to Ramapo, and his other son played for a school called Don Bosco. So he's sitting there, and now the crowd's starting to filter in, and he was sitting in the student section. So the students are starting to filter up, the band's filtering up. So he's starting to move over a little bit. And you can tell people are kind of, hey, Phil, they're all over. So for whatever reason, he identifies my friends and I, and he kind of comes over and starts standing with us. And, he starts talking football with us, about what the kids are doing, where you guys from. Oh, we're Northern Highlands. We just scrimmaged you, with this, that, and we're going back and forth. And then he starts breaking down plays. And And by the third quarter, he's like slamming me in the back and saying, "Hey, did you see that?" What a great guy. So, we spent an entire high school football game with Phil Simms. We did ask him to come out with us afterwards, John, and he refused.
Well, he could sense that you guys had that little extra thing. That's Bobby's favorite player ever, right, Rob?
No.
Wolfie. That was Wolfie's favorite player.
Wolfie's favorites were Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor, and mine were Carl Banks and Mark Bavaro.
Mark Bavaro.
So I met Mark Bavaro, Bob.
That's a tough.
So McConkey was in my business too, and we had a client in common. And I went out to dinner one night, and Phil McConkey was there, and he brought Bavaro.
Oh yeah, they were good friends. Yeah,
they were very good friends, and McConkey talked a lot, and Bavaro did not say anything.
Say a word.
Not say a word.
I don't think
I wanted to ask him about Nealon, Dad, but I didn't have the courage.
Nealon has pictures of him and Bavaro, and Nealon was a little bit younger. I think he was probably like a freshman in high school, and he went to a Giant camp, and he kept trailing him. And finally, Bavaro said, "Look, kid, just get the hell away from me."
Didn't Nealon tell him he loved him?
I don't know if he did or not. No,
I think he did. I think that was the story.
Did you know why Mark Bavaro couldn't drink alcohol?
No,
I didn't know that he couldn't.
It made him mean.
I don't want to see that guy mean.
That's just a joke. Phil McConkey, wasn't he a Navy guy or was he an Army guy or something like that?
Yeah, I think he was an Annapolis guy, yeah.
Those were teams. Shawnee, you're a big Giants fan, huh?
Yes, I am, and a suffering one at that the last 15 years.
Yeah.
When we were at Nova senior year, I was living at Bryn Mawr Courts, and that's when the Giants won their first Super Bowl against the Broncos. And I don't remember, McConkey and Bavaro both had touchdowns that game. And I just remember watching it in the Bryn Mawr Courts. And then I remember going to John Barleycorn's. I'm trying to remember who was with us. I remember Ward was with us, Pannone, and
yeah, I was at Jimmy Altmeier's with a bunch of guys, and then I think Nealon was with us.
Okay.
And then I think he went to the field house and in celebration dumped the garbage on the bed. I don't know what he was doing.
He was looking for pizza.
I'm a big Giant fan. I don't know many bigger Giant fans than Nealon. That's for sure.
When the Giants won their second Super Bowl, we were in Hoboken, and I watched the game against the Bills with John and George. It was
a dark day of my life.
Oh, that's right, John. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the midst of your run.
We told this story in an earlier podcast, but it's true. Buffalo was the better team. I don't care what you guys say. Buffalo was. We beat you guys earlier in the year.
You had better talent.
You beat us in the last game of the year.
Yeah.
I was at that game. It was 12 degrees, and it was a very close game.
Yeah, but we beat you.
You did.
I expected you guys. I think what happened, the Giants just controlled the clock. They kept the ball away from the Bills. Like they were doing 7-8 minute drives of O.J. Anderson and Mark.
Yeah. They did. Yeah.
Robert took it upon himself to lend some sort of spiritual energy to Stephen Touchdown Baker. He started drinking.
Remember that? I remember some bizarre stuff that
he just started drinking beer after beer, and every time he drank another beer, Baker would catch one and all that. And by the end, Bobby was a puddle, but Baker was like the hero, and Noah had missed it wide, and my life has never been the same since that way. So
maybe this year.
We'll see. Big win last night. Shawnee, those are good. You got any more for us?
When my sister graduated from Rosemont, I had a little break in the celebrations and the activities. So I drove down to Smokey Joe's by myself to have a couple of beers. You weren't there, John.
Okay.
And I'm sitting at Smokey Joe's, and there was one other person in the bar. One Lenny Nails Dykstra.
Oh,
wow.
And if you remember, I believe later that year, he and John Kruk might have gotten in some trouble at Smokey Joe's or after leaving Smokey Joe's.
He had a little trouble.
But anyway, I spent a couple hours with Nails, And we were just, sitting there talking at the bar, and I told him, hey, I played baseball, not on your level. We're talking. And I worked with a guy who I didn't like very much at the time. And he was a Mets fan. I was not.
Okay.
So as I'm leaving, Lenny's leaving. I said, hey, can you do me a favor, and can I get your autograph? And he I think he was disappointed. Like, he was like, hey, I just met this guy, and he was not all over me because I was an athlete. And I said, no, it's not for me. It's for someone I work with, and he's a big Mets fan. And he said, all right, how do you want me to sign it? And I said, to George, F you, and F the Mets.
And did he?
And he did it.
Nice.
He was a class act.
Yeah.
Class act.
So I'll always love Nails for that. But yeah, that was a happenstance encounter, and it was a fun 2 hours hanging out.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You always,
Yeah.
It's nice. You ingratiate yourself. Yeah, Sean is a nice guy. He's a fun guy. You can talk. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to ask you about Nova. But any more you want to share?
I mean, those are the best. I met Greg Maddux years ago.
You got good pitcher.
He joined a foursome we were in
Nice.
down at his home place, and
Okay. Golf.
And
Okay.
that was fun. And I kind of
Family show.
He just said, Greg, and yeah, right. I just asked him. I just said to him, at the end, I said, how'd you do it? You just didn't. You didn't throw very hard. How'd you do it? He goes, guys in the major leagues like to hit the ball down the middle of the plate. I just didn't throw it there. Nice guy. Another nice guy. But he doesn't talk much either. He didn't talk much either.
Is he a big guy or a little guy?
Not a big guy at all. Not a big guy at all.
Glasses, yeah. Wow,
yeah, but a little commonality there. He and Jamie Moyer, who I mentioned earlier, played on the Cubs together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I love the baseball stuff. I mean, you could talk to these guys. That's a good question. That was a good question you asked him. And, I think the greatest athletes, and all that, it's always simplicity, isn't it? They don't complicate things. They do things really good, as best they can. And sort of like, you and I, Sean, we did Mallory's really good. It wasn't complicated what we were doing. It wasn't complicated, but we did it really well. Let's just give a couple Nova things here because we're here. Shawnee, who's your favorite Nova basketball player of all time?
Jensen.
Harold Jensen.
One of our boys, 5 for 5 in that Georgetown game.
Yeah.
Very consistent, hardworking.
Great guy.
Great guy overall. Jensen's my favorite of all time.
Bobby, who was yours? You already told me who was your favorite player?
All right, I'll stay away from people from our class that we know. I'll say that I think my favorite player of all time is probably Josh Hart.
Josh Hart's good, isn't he?
Just because the effort is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
To get where he came, what he accomplished, after not even he didn't even he only got 3 scholarship offers.
Yeah.
To go to college. He didn't even want to go to Villanova. Like, he wanted to go to Georgetown. They wouldn't even offer him.
Yeah, that was 3 more than I got. But Shawnee, what's your all-time team? Your Villanova hoop team, all time, from our era to now. Who's your top 5? Who do you think top 5?
I would say, obviously the 87, the 85 team.
Okay.
Obviously they're in the top 5.
I mean players. Give me 5 players. Point guard, shooting guard, forward, center.
I'll be a little bit, my favorite point guard was Kenny Wilson.
I love Kenny Wilson.
Kenny Wilson was my favorite point guard. They listed Kenny at 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
Kenny was probably 5'6", 5'7".
I think he was 5'2".
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But Stevie Pannone and I were roommates in summer school one year, and Kenny lived next door to us.
Oh, he's a great kid.
He was a great kid too. So Kenny Wilson. I got to go with Shabby on Josh Hart.
Yeah, nice.
Archie Diacono.
Ooh, nice.
Big man Pinkney.
Eddie, he was fabulous.
And I got to go with DiVincenzo.
Oh, the big ragu.
Big Ragu. Kerry Kittles.
Oh, God, we had a lot of great players.
Yeah, we had a lot of great players.
My
We didn't
favorite player of all time was probably not one of the. I loved Happy Dobbs, Frank Happy Dobbs.
Happy
The
Dobbs.
senior when we were freshmen, right?
I love that guy. Kenny Wilson was a big fan. Brunson's just so good. Brunson's just so good. Josh Hart was really good. I loved Darren Hilliard. Remember him?
Darren Hilliard.
I love Darren Hilliard.
You
Mikal
know-
Bridges is so good.
We haven't
so
even
many.
mentioned Kyle Lowry, who might be the
Kyle
best.
Lowry, Randy
Lowry.
Foy, Alan Ray,
So
Paul, but I think they all are eclipsed by Paul Vrind, one of the great Dutch players in the history of the game, Paul Vrind. So we're going to have him on.
funny story. I ran into. I'm in a. I was used to cover Minneapolis, which is a big money center. You know, at one point in my career, and I was out there at a. Let's just say a men's club, John. You know, and so we're in Minnesota, and a bunch of Timberwolves walk in.
Okay.
You know, and one of the gentlemen was Dougie West.
Dougie West from Altoona, Pennsylvania.
And we knew Doug from school, and he was nice enough. He came right over to my table, shook my hand,
Oh,
and I'm with a bunch of guys that live in Minneapolis, right? The big Timberwolves fan.
yeah.
So that was a nice thing for him to do, and it helped me out a little bit. But yeah, ran into Doug West back in Minneapolis.
He was underrated. He was so good. Doug West had a good long career too. He played, remember, with Massey and Kenny Wilson and Tommy Grice and
Plansky was on that team, right?
Plansky. Our friend Mark Plansky. If you're out there, I played on Ellie-Cat with Mark. Really good guy. Well, this is really good. Bobby, do you have any final thoughts for Mr. Grady before we say
I think
goodbye?
We've held them up enough. Long episode.
Oh, isn't it long? I don't even know. It's been
Not long enough, Sean. Sean, we were just sitting into our seats at Mallory's for this time. We would be up a good 4 hours. Well, Shawnee, you're a great guy, really are, and we're both blessed to have you in our lives. You're a good friend, a loyal friend, a good Villanovan, and be nice to the people down there with pickleball. Okay, don't show them some mercy, Sean. Show them some mercy.
I'll think about that, John.
So, what about the Nova football? We're going to win it this year, guys? What do you think?
What are we in the quarterfinals now?
We have a tough game. We just beat
Lehigh.
We were the underdogs against Harvard and Lehigh. We won them both, but now we're a bigger underdog. We're like 8.5 underdog against Charleston State.
Well, how are you an underdog to an Ivy League football team? Didn't they just start with the playoffs?
I know that did make sense, but this team's good. They beat Army.
Okay,
one team.
Yeah,
so
Army's good.
Real.
And
Army's not. Army does well every year. You know, they're pretty good.
And our hoop team's better this year. We got a better
hoop team is looking good. We have a big one against Michigan coming up
tomorrow night. Sean, a hard Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So when you're watching this video, people, Villanova had already beaten Michigan and won the national championship, and you can thank Mr. Sean Grady. If you like this episode and any of them, like it, hit like, subscribe so we can sell tickets and buy beer more. And I will thank Robert, as always, for your co-hosting ability. And a special thank you to Mr. Sean Grady, one of my great friends. And I hope to see you soon. Come on up. All right.
I'll be up in a couple of weeks, John.
All right. Don't let the world know. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Chavi.